Hey, this is JD. Welcome to my channel. And what do we have here today? We have Bridzilla. Oh my god. So probably won't complete this today, but Bridzilla runs really well until it slows down. And what happens when it slows down is that it overbanks. And how does it overbank? Let me show you. Alright. It's not overbanking, it's out of adjustment or out of alignment. So here is the roller table here, and then the impulse jewels over here, and there's a cut in the front. I'll just draw it like this, and there's a cut here, and that's where the dart comes up and prevents it from overbanking. So when you get the fork between the pallet like this, and it's supposed to be snapped over to this side like this, but when you're at almost zero mainspring power, the darn thing moves from the bank on this side towards the center, because the little dart here is too far away from the roller table and this little indent. So it doesn't care about this little indent. It just goes, I don't care about it. So that's a safety mechanism within the roller table. So it just goes slowly back. And that's likely why this watch runs perfectly until it slows down. So someone told me today, hey, that shouldn't be a problem there, Mr. JD guy. Just keep winding it forever. Never let it slow down. So what a great plan. Man. Now the worst thing about this whole incident here is that I've got to take this watch apart again. It's so nicely put back together. I do have fingerprints all over it because I was expecting to have to do something anyway. So there. So I got to take it apart. This is Bridzilla, it's called. It is the bride of Bridzilla, and it's the banking pin is on the other side. So, or the impulse jewel is in the wrong side, I tell you. The wrong side. So I'm just going to take this bounce off, and I'm going to be able to look down onto this bounce, and I'm going to be able to predict the future. That's what I'm going to do. Predict the future. So let me move this out of the way. Out of the way. And edge this bounce off. I'm going to get myself a nice softy toffee cushion here. So a Bergeron high-end gel-filled cushion. Let's give this watch what it so needs. And I just want to use a really small screwdriver in here to raise this up a bit. And then I'll grab this like this and then move this aside, I tell you. Like that. And we'll pull this up like this and just put it on a balance tack maybe. Let's grab a balance tack. I'm going to grab one of the ones I've made. This is the balance tack. I got some faux leather stuck to it, but this is the dual-ended balance tack that I made a long time ago. So this is going to let the balance rest down right here and fall asleep for the night. There we go. And no pressure on the hairspring. I'll move that out of the way. So here I've got myself the situation. So let me just zoom in. The situation. That should be my rap name. I should call myself the situation. You know how those guys call themselves different things. So here's the pallet fork here. And see how it's snapping back and forth? Seems like it wouldn't have a problem at all until it gets to the low power point. And then I think that this safety pin here, right there, the dart, the guard pin as they call it, needs to be moved forward. So either it needs to be moved forward or the roller table on the watch is not up high enough, and it's causing the this to not interact with the roller table. But if I have a quick look at the roller table, grab this watch here, and I'm just going to spin this around very carefully in my hand and look at the roller table. Just move this up a bit and around. Nice and easy. So Is the roller table level? That's the question. Let me look in here. I'm going to turn this and look inside. And there is no more room for that roller table to go up anymore. So it is level. So that roller table, there's no more room. If you look at that roller table on the watch, and you see that that roller table is snug up against the balance. So there's no room whatsoever. So that is not going to work. So, and this is snapping back and forth like it should, which means the safety on this is not working, which means somehow that guard pin needs to move forward. Now the question is, can I move that guard pin forward? That is the question. I don't want to break it, and I don't think I can bend it. I'm not sure, but I am going to have to strip the watch down again. I think that is the problem. So this is Bridzilla that I've taken apart so many times. It's not used to being together again. It's been apart a million times. It's kind of upsetting in a way, right? But that is the situation. Everything else is perfect with this watch. Absolutely perfect. Except that one little thing that's causing Bridzilla all kinds of issues. And what I was thinking of doing, actually, before I do this, is I was thinking of, do I have another roller table I can put in there? I got a jobby doohickey full of stuff. And let me, just to secure this again, the roller table, I have another roller table that might be the same style, I believe it is, for a 1866 type movement, right? That's what they're called, 1866 type movement. So there it is there. There's a lot of crap in here, isn't there? Look at all that stuff. There's even the second hands and stuff. So here's the other roller table. Now what I want to do is drop that down and see where the guard pin is. But I'm not going to be able to do that. I'm basically, I want to see where the impulse jewel is on this. The impulse jewel would be right here. And that's where the indentation is. But I just want to see how close the guard pin is. Yeah, that's the roller table. I could actually try to lift that up out of place. I don't know. What should I do? Well, it seems to be rotating, so that's a good thing. Let's just rotate this over here like that. Like this, and then I may stake this on, because I want to see where the guard pin is with respect to this roller table. Let me just push this on a bit here. Let me get my staking set out and stake this on so I can use it as a test device. A test roller table. There we go. So I got a little piece of pegwood here, and I've got the watch in place. And I'm seeing if the roller table is touching where that where the guard pin is. So I wonder if I can get in closer here, if you guys can see that. You see that situation right there? There's the guard pin, and there is the roller table. And it looks like the guard pin is far away from the roller table, but will it touch the roller table if I move the guard pin, or if I move the balance over? That's the question. I move it over, does it touch the roller table? Is that the situation? I don't know. So I'm just investigating here, and I'm just going to slowly move this balance. And I've got it kind of in position here, but I can see there's some space with that guard pin right now. But if I take that guard pin and I move it to the other side, and there we go. So the actual device, the guard pin moved to the other side, and it didn't matter where the roller table was. It was like, I don't care. Yeah, look at that. So that guard pin is not going to do its job. I've got to nudge it over ever so slightly, and I don't know. See, in that situation it looked like it was right, but it's just so damn close. So if I'm able to move it over just a tad, then I might be able to solve the situation of the Bridzilla, the Bride of Frankenwatch. So there, I just jury-rigged this really quickly to see what the interaction was between that roller table and that pin. And what I'm also going to do is measure the diameter of the roller table. So let's get the old measurement tools out for that. So there's two ways of measuring the diameter of the roller table and comparing it to the other roller table. There's this way, where I'm just going to grab it on either side and measure it. And that's 3.8. Then I'm going to grab it again. That's 3.8. So it seems to be 3.8. And now I'll look at this roller table. And if this roller table on the balance I have here is smaller than 3.8, that could be where the problem is. Let me check. Just got to grab the darn thing. Let me get on the other side here. Pull this apart and then push it together slowly. Look at that, 3.8. 3.8. So it's exactly the same size. So back that goes into my little junk drawer. So just for the hell of it, I did old school measurement here, and these two roller tables are exactly the same size. No difference between the two. So it's that wonderful palette fork that I have that's causing the issues. So let's just disassemble this watch again for the 50th time and see if I can adjust that palette fork. That will be my last shot at it, I hope. I do not know. For the Bride of Frankenwatch, who we've called Frankzilla or Bridzilla, has run well until it powers down, and then it just spits in my face. It just goes a huck two. That's a huck two is kind of the verbal way of spitting there. So again, got to let the power down on this watch. It's not that difficult, but you got to know how to do it. So if you don't know how to do it, then pay attention. So you need one of these to put the power down properly, and you need to be able to take a screwdriver, and there's a small lever right on the side there, and all you do is turn it, winding it clockwise just a bit, like that, while pressing in, like that, and that releases this power a bit, which lets you do that. It seems like the watch still had a bit of power left in it. Yeah, it still has some power left in it. So that roller table thing, it was causing the problem even at a higher amplitude. So there's that done. D-O-N. And now I got to take some of these parts off here and get this thing assembled. Alrighty then. Let me just grab my stuff here and get to work fast. I think I've had this watch apart 100 times now. Just make sure the screws are out of the way and I can disassemble this without a problem. It's a real shame because the watch was running so well. So Phil, here we go again. I almost gave up. I was at the edge of giving up. Just at the very edge of giving up. I said, nope. I did the drill. I drilled that, or put a new pivot in for that gentleman recently. He came to my door today and thanked me a million times. And that took me a lot of work to do that pivot. And just, he knows that it took me a lot of work to do the pivot. But there's not very many people up here in Ottawa, Canada, that can actually do that job. That's a tricky, tricky job. So, I should be saying A every now and then. A. So there's not a lot of watchmakers that can do that job. A 0.3 millimeter hole is what I ended up drilling, which is like pretty friggin' small. Pretty friggin' small. Alright, when I pull this back again, I've got to take care of making sure I don't ruin the pivot on the pallet fork. So it's got to go up a bit and then over a bit. So I'm just going to do this first and go up a bit and then kind of glide it forward like that so it's out of the way. And there's the pallet fork. There's the guilty son of a bleep bleep right there. So I'm just going to pull this out and have a look at it. And I can see that it looks like that dart has already moved forward a bit. And I can't remember whether I tapped it forward or not, but it's moved forward. So I'll have to get that in position where I can actually tap that again and get that moved forward. So just get this stuff out of the way and have a look at the pallet fork. So I think I did this last time. I want to secure this pallet fork in my staking set, which I think is a wise decision. There's one that fits there. Now can I go one over? Let's see. Yeah, I can. That is pretty tight, but I can obviously go one over. So there it is there. So now I just have to make sure that hole is lined up so I can have something put pressure on the top. So I do this and line up this part and then pull it out. And I can grab that pallet fork like this, go down again with the stake, and it should be fairly lined up with this hole. There we go. And then tighten the staking set, tighten this on the back. And then remember where the hole is. And put that pallet fork back in the hole. And if this doesn't work, then I don't know what to do. I'll be totally baffled. Totally befunkled and baffled. There we go. So that's perfectly lined up. Now I want to put some pressure on this so it doesn't move if and when I tap it. So I want to basically put I need to put a stake down on top of it. I'm not sure what size stake I need to use. I just need to have it held in place like that. So that might be good enough. So it's nice and secure in place. And now I have to figure out how the hell do I bend this thing now that I've got it nicely secured. Let's check that job out. I'm going to use this old stake and just put it over the guard pin and see if I can bend it down just carefully. If it breaks, I got to put another guard pin in there. And I'm keeping an eye on the distances here. and see if I can carefully manage the distance here. I don't know if there's any other way of doing this other than tapping it. See if that moved it at all. Looked like it did. The guard pin is made of brass, so yeah, that definitely moved it. So there. So I've moved it, but I don't know if I've moved it enough to solve the problem. So we'll have a look. You can see the slant on it right now, so I wish it was a little bit over more, like straight up, but we'll see if this does it. And we'll reassemble this watch now. So the guard pin is moved way over, and hopefully not too much. So what I do to reassemble this watch is I put it in like this first, and then I put a piece of Rodico in there to hold it in place. So this is a technique I've been using for quite a few years, and it has served me well. So just get a little tiny piece of Rodico. You don't need much. Roll it, and then you stick it on here like this. Like this. And it can go on this side because it's keeping this down. Sometimes it's hard to stick it to the actual plate of the watch. You just have to keep working at it until it sticks. Like that. Come on, stay down. There we go. Doesn't have to be adhering too much, just enough. That's why I spread it out. Like that. That should do. That way I can pull it out after. Which would be a better way of doing it. So I think I will get my Myers number 58 movement holder out and use that to hold this movement. And here it is, the famous Myers number 58 movement holder. Oh my God, this thing is incredible. And somebody told me, someone was online looking to buy one of these the other day, and said that they had to pay $800 for this movement holder. That's a lot of dollars. Something in the way here? I think it just has to tuck itself in a bit. I'll just do this. And that's a lot of money for one of these movement holders, like a whole lot of money. So I didn't think they'd ever cost that much, but they do now. And I got a few of them. And I'm keeping them, in case anyone wonders, because they are gold, Jerry. Gold, I tell you. So I'm lowering the plate down as careful as I can. It'd be nice if some of the pivots fell into place, but they never do. Somebody said if you tap the movement, right, go like that, the pivots might fall into place. I found that that does not work at all. So thank you for that tip, but it was worth zero. I'm not sure who told me that, but maybe there's a technique for tapping that I don't have. So I'm just going to put these in super loose, and that's just to allow the plate to sit on top. And then I'm going to nudge the pivots with my pivot nudger. And I still don't know whether this will work. So I might have moved the guard pin over too much. You just don't know. It's a matter of multi-millimeters. It's a matter of millimeters here that you're talking. 0.01, 0.02. Let's see if that guard pin actually does its job. It's looking like it's leaning over a lot more than it was before. So we'll see if it's makes a difference. A hill of beans difference. That's what they say. What does that make a hill of beans difference? So and now I just have to use this. I pull it up and tap the the gears. All right, I think everything is in place here, so let's just tighten it down a bit. Not a lot, but just a bit. Make sure I've got some action here. I've taken the Rodico out, so the Rodico is no longer in there. So then I got to look at the edges here to make sure that the pillars are all touching the plate. So just look at the edge here and make sure the pillars are touching the plate. If they're touching the plate, then we're good, and I think we're good. So I just need to tighten this up here. And tighten this one. And tighten this one. Like that. And now the upper plate, before I can wind the watch. I oiled this before, so I don't want to oil it again because I've oiled it way too much. So I just want to put this on here and line it up properly, like that. It goes down like that, and then these two screws hold this in place. One thing I didn't do here, which you see these little things here, these were gappers that I used for the back plate here because this pallet fork is too stiff when this is tightened down. So I forgot to put those in, so I've got to go take this apart and put those back in. Damn. So I can usually slide them in. It's like the plate's bent or something, because if I just do that, then this loosens up a bit. And I just have to loosen this up a bit and then put these in. And I don't know what happened that would cause that for this watch, but it does cause it. So I'm just going to loosen this just a bit here, and maybe not enough to cause this watch to come apart on me, but enough to allow me to put those back in place. And without the mainspring barrel falling out, so I'm just going to wrap this up a bit. Because I don't want the barrel to fall out while I'm trying to fix that problem. Another problem happens. So yeah, these things go right in there, and I had those in there before. Yeah, and they're not in there now, so I'm not sure. Did they all fall out, or did just one of them fall out? Let me grab them again and put them in. See if I can simply solve my problem. I thought there was more than two, though. I figured there was like 5 or 6 of them in there. That's 2 of them. I'm hoping the other ones aren't kind of hidden or lost in the middle of all this stuff. There's another one right over here. I think I'm going to go get my thingamajobbies, and I'll be right back. So these are dial washers I'm putting in here, and I'm using them as spacers. And I've successfully done that before, so I got to take out a dial washer here, and I may just bend it, and it gives me a double, right? And it's pretty good for a spacer. Now next time I do this, if I have to do this again, I might just put the dial washer over the post. I'm not sure how many dial washers I actually need. That one there I ruined. So I've got a bunch of them here. It's kind of silly that I have to do this, but I do. So if I don't, this watch will not work. It's too tight onto the staff. Alright, we'll try that. Let me just compress it a bit. Like that. Turn this over, and then just see if this is loose. And it is. That's good. Now when I tighten the screw here, is it going to stay loose? That's the question. Yep. Still loose, so the dial washers are working. That's good. So now I can continue the reassembly here. Hopefully when I tighten this down, the dial, there's no issue. No, still good. It's kind of weird. It's like the plate was bent or something. I'm not sure how that would have happened, but when things are 100 and some years old, stuff happens. So next time I think I'll just put the dial washers down, directly down on here, and then I don't have to worry about it. So another thing is I don't know if there's some rogue dial washer floating around in the watch. Hopefully there isn't. I didn't see any, but you never know. So I'll make sure that if this absolutely works in the long run, I'll make sure I test this watch before I deliver it. So now I'm just putting the screws back on here for this. This is like a golf channel thing here happening. This is Bridzilla, so if this doesn't work, then I'm going to try some more stuff. So, Bridzilla, I am not giving up on you. You are destined to run. Run like the wind. All right, let's wind this up a bit. And I'm going to check the snap here of the pallet fork here. Not sure if you can see that, but let me just see if I can. And that's snapping back and forth nicely. No problems there at all. And just get the balance out and reinstall. All right, here we go. Grab the balance like this, and then you have to put it at an angle so it enters the impulse jewel enters the pallet fork from the right side, or the correct side. So just do that. You move the movement, not the bridge, not the balance cock. You move the movement like that, and we've got, ladies and gentlemen, we have liftoff. So I'm going to put a little bit of pressure down on this before I tighten the screw, because I want this to be down in there nicely like that. And I think that's snug down in there, so I don't have to worry about it jumping up when I tighten the screw. There we go. Bridzilla is running. So it looks like it's running pretty well. So I'm just going to put the cap on this like that and let that run overnight. And in the morning, if it's overbanked, I'm going to scream like a kindergarten student. So there it is there. It's actually running really well, which means the guard pin wasn't too far over. It wasn't blocking it from running. So we'll see if it's good enough to guard that last moment when it wants to jump to the other side. And I'll take a shot, because I think the amplitude is pretty darn good on this right now, and do a little slow-mo on it. So I'd like to see if it's got a decent amplitude. And then that'll be it for today, and I'll just put this video up. Bridzilla returns.